Coffee series, a series that is there just to have a chat on how people can position themselves and improve their ability to generate extra income and revenue streams that will better their lives. So I'm right now in Johannesburg, sunny, Southern Africa, and my host is an incredible gentleman who's got years of experience. We got a lot to learn from him, and it's going to be a very lovely 15 to 20 minutes chat. I can brag right now that I'm in sunny Johannesburg, and he doesn't have that privilege himself because he's in Cape Town. How's Cape Town, Peter?
Oh, windy, cold, rainy, but we always need the rain. It's a season for its winter, and we're a Mediterranean climate, so the rain is welcome. The cold is there. Of course, there is the concern that the Cape always overdoes it. It's either too windy, or it's too cold, or it's too rainy, or it's too hot. But that's Cape Town. But it's a beautiful climate all in all, as long as you can get used to the excesses. So no, it's fine. We're not complaining, because it still is the
second last time I was in Cape Town, I was at your place, and the weather just flipped. It was one moment fair weather, and then it got cold. You remember you had to assist me with extra.
I remember I had to get out extra blankets, heaters, and stuff for you.
I said I'm a black guy from Southern Africa, from Zambia, and I'm just not used to that kind of cold.
That's okay. You're welcome anytime, Peter, and we still have the blankets.
Thank you, Peter. So, Peter, do you mind just telling us a bit about your background? I know that you worked in the U.S., you worked in Europe for a while. You were running a corporation that had about 500 employees plus, and then one thing led to the next, and you turned into this incredible entrepreneur. Do you mind just running us through your background? I hope you don't mind. I have to wear shades. The sun is really bragging right now that it's super sunny and nice.
Enjoy it while you can, because we are sending you nice cold weather. Peter, where do I start? I grew up in the town of Krugersdorp, now Mohale City, just outside Johannesburg. Went to Monument High School, and then studied at Wits University, and after that did some studies at UNISA and eventually at Stellenbosch Business School. I qualified as an attorney and practiced for a number of years, and then went back to university. And then I ended up doing business studies, and after that I had the good fortune of developing a system that could read files from a computer. This was in the days before the PC, and much less advanced than it is today, but the system that I developed while doing my studies enabled me to sell the system out to the market in South Africa in a very restricted user base of about 200, and then went to Germany with the same solution and the same system. I eventually sold the company there and moved to the United States, and then I spent about 20 years in the United States. Eventually went to Canada when Mr. Mandela took the long walk to freedom, and got nagged by people to help them raise funding for mining in South Africa, and did that for quite a while in Toronto, and came back to South Africa to spend some time with my parents, who were in their 70s, at the time, and that was very delightful. And then I did a fund management business in South Africa, which I eventually sold again. And then in the meantime,
was the fund management company in Johannesburg or Cape Town?
No, in Bloemfontein.
Oh, Bloemfontein. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And that went on for a
3 drive from Johannesburg, is it?
Well, yeah, it's about 4-hour drive, from Johannesburg, right in the heart, right in the center of South Africa. And then when I eventually sold that company and moved to Cape Town, ostensibly to retire, but then had an idea which came about as a result of the demand for funding for green projects.
Yeah. Which year was that when you sold the fund management company in Bloemfontein and moved to Cape Town?
2013.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been here for about 7 years now.
Okay.
And right now I am the CEO of a company called Benchmark International, which has got locations here and in a few other places around the world. And our focus is on raising money for green projects of various kinds, from waste to energy to clean energy, solar, wind, but the main focus being on getting entrepreneurs started, and through innovative financial solutions that we are able to do. We're currently looking at projects in Canada, in South Africa, in India, in Malaysia, and in Europe. And it's quite an exciting ride at the moment because it is an idea whose time has come. And and it has given me, with a bit of background and all the friends I've made around the world, in a rather unique position of being able to get into areas where, and this is entirely new, the whole thing, and the basic structure on which the funding takes place is through green bonds, which are the flavor of the month at the moment. So we're try and get some work done there.
So we look in a while. It's taken a while for people to sort of appreciate the green economy and people to see its full potential. It's literally taken years. There've been proponents for years. I think Al Gore has been one of them, to say, hey, listen, and I think California too has been at the forefront on investing in green energy. In your view, what are the real tangible opportunities? I mean, are we still in the early stages of the green economy, or have we hit midway, or we've barely scratched the surface?
Oh, we've barely scratched the surface. Look, our current gift to the world, if you want to put that in big inverted commas, is that we have polluted our world, we've polluted our oceans, we've polluted our rivers, we've polluted where our landfills are overfull, we've got rubbish tires everywhere, we burn fossil fuels. It's a horrible situation that we are leaving to the next generation. And if you just go take a walk out or take a drive to your local landfill, you'll find tires by the millions, and they are a very big environmental hazard. And it's possible to get into that business in a big way quite easily, actually. There are barriers to entry because it's not a complex technical solution. The technical solution is easy. It needs quite a bit of money, unfortunately. You're looking to do a business of that nature of about 60, 70 million rand, which is what, divide by 15, about $3 to $4 million.
That's right.
But it still is, in South African terms, of course. And then, of course, there's the oil, the waste oil that's all over the show. And there, a good friend of mine has developed, and we're helping him develop a franchise model that anybody can get in at a very much lower cost. Go collect waste oil, stop them from pouring it down into the rivers, and then clean up the oil, and it can be, it has tremendous advantages. And so there are, from very small businesses that you can get into, magnificently large businesses. For example, we're looking at a project in Borneo where there's a massive landfill in the Sabah part of it, the Malaysian part of it, where they have this massive landfill with tires, with plastic, with organic waste and everything else. The goal of that project is to regain all of that, recycle and burn and so on, and eventually get to a situation where the land is fully reclaimed. And in the meantime, to replace from the waste, to replace the existing fossil fuel burning with cleaning up the environment in this way. And there's a massive opportunity there. And it should not be ignored. It's really important. As far as where it is in terms of the overall economic cycle, I think it's really just the start everywhere. That's on the waste to energy side. Now, if you look at the solar and the wind side, now, of course, there is a problem with these things, that the beauty of coal is that you can slow down or gear up on your cycle of your power, so you can very easily manage your flow of power in your grid. Unfortunately, the sun sets everywhere because the earth turns around the sun. So that means that you have to have different technologies for that. But people are getting into a place where there are magnificent advances in battery storage. So you can generate from the sun in the day, store it in a battery, very good solutions, and consume in the evening from that. So we're working on a hospital solution, particularly in a place like Zambia, where in South Africa we also have the problem, but you have power for only so many hours a day, and then the power goes off and people die in hospitals if they don't manage themselves well. So also those kinds of things. There are wonderful opportunities there, and they're everywhere. If one just takes, and it can be from very small scale. An idea for a business, for example, that is actually being implemented now, is to take a couple of solar panels and a couple of batteries, and we can actually go to even informal settlements, and for a very low cost, put up, electrify the entire informal settlement at a very low cost. It needs some imaginative financing, but it's there and it's possible. So people can get into
Is this something in your view that would probably have to be like subsidized in some form of subsidy stroke capital packaging that would allow people in informal settlement by government to step in? So a mix of government and private sector
available. They are available. There's a thing called the Climate Fund, which will fund governments. And I believe it's happening already in South Africa, jointly with the Development Bank of South Africa, where those kinds of possibilities are available, where the Climate Fund initiative would fund into the government. And that comes from the World Bank. The government then has the money, and if one can avoid the bad actors that unfortunately seem to plague situations around the world, then certainly it can be done. It's available. It's there now. And the only thing to do is to get unfortunately, when you rely on government and you rely on the what do we call it, the government sector as a whole, you get the problem that most of the time they take too long, and it is not, there's no imagination in it. So the thing to do is to get the private sector involved as far as possible, and in fact to train young people into having the knowledge, and the young people fired up to go and do it, and then it will happen fast. If you can inspire them, say, I want to get this for my goal, you will have won. But to get there is where, and that of course is where, what people also don't realize is the massive opportunity there is right now. In my day, when I went to university, you needed a lot of money to be able to get there, and I was lucky. But nowadays, you can actually get a degree at a very low cost, all of it online. We are bringing a solution into Southern Africa, into the entire SADC region, that will enable people to start studying from how do you switch on a computer all the way to a PhD in computer science from Warwick University. And they can do all of that basically online or in small class groups. One of the initiatives that we are working on is in the Kopo area in KwaZulu-Natal, to put together a training program for 1,000 students who at the moment don't have any formal qualifications, that will prepare them for employment in the IT sector, and we're very excited about that as well. So the education is available, the money is available, the opportunities are there. What's stopping you guys?
So in getting you right, so let me just backtrack a little. First and foremost, I just want to highlight that I've got some strong contacts in South Sudan, and one conversation I was having with them is that they were having, because they're drilling oil right now. So one of the challenges that they had was oil waste, and they didn't know how to go about that. I was speaking to a government official sometime last year. So maybe at some point I could see how we can escalate the conversation regarding that bit. Then regarding the online learning platform, I mean, can anybody access that anywhere across the world? Because from what you're saying is that it's online. That means someone can probably pay up and then they start lessons immediately, and just say that there's different options of courses as well as qualifications, so you can literally get your degree online.
Absolutely. And it starts with children from about age 11. There's a very interesting robotics program, for example, for kids aged 10, 11, 12. And it develops all the way up to the most intricate and difficult stuff, to teach the blockchain, to teach coding, whatever you feel like, or if you just want to have a program where you manage a computer installation, and everything in between is available. And yes, it is available online. There are also, we're busy putting together franchises in conjunction with CETAs all over Southern Africa, where you will, once the COVID is behind us, you'll be able to attend classes in a classroom setting with a teacher, and the teacher could actually be present, or it could be an online teacher from India who is very well qualified in that area. And our partner in the process has been in the business for over 20 years and has trained something like 1 million students, and has all the various courses and all the various things. And also a very important aspect is in cybersecurity. There's a wonderful course in training people, then also courses to prepare people who have graduated for employment where they do not have the skills yet, and where businesses are actually prepared to pay for new employees being trained in those areas online to then have the ability and the qualification to be a much more added value employee for that particular business.
Yeah. So, Peter, going by, I mean, look, you're in your 70s right now. Going by...
a 35-year-old citizens.
Yeah. So going by your years of experience and how you've seen the economies evolve, do we have more opportunities now than ever before? Is it easier for younger people now to say, listen, this is what I can do for myself? And also, under the same breath, under the question, I'll probably say, if someone is in their 40s and 50s and they're saying, look, how does my pension look like? It doesn't look good at all. How do I secure some kind of retirement privilege that I can have a decent retirement package? How do they go about that to ensure that they have a decent life, something that is within their control?
You know, it of course depends on the circumstances of the individual person. If you're in your 70s, there's not much point in investing in a growth company. But however, if you're in your 20s, you're totally dumb. I think the biggest single survival skill that people can learn is to understand the power of compound interest in all its various forms, where and to understand the time value of money. That becomes the most important factor. You must realize that a dollar or a rand or a kwacha or whatever today is worth a lot more than one in 10 years' time. So if you put that away today, and you then get a specific annual return on that, and you don't go and blow the money on a Mercedes-Benz and things like that, because and you then build that up in 10 years' time, that 1 rand or dollar would be worth, well, at a growth rate of 10%, it would be worth probably 60, 70 rand. That same, and it would have the buying power retained of the rand today, and that is really the critical factor, is that, and so one has to have, also the other thing is to have a mix of investments as you go forward. You have to have some real estate, you have to have some money in a money market account, you have to have 3 months expenses put away so that a crisis like this one that's hit us now, you can survive that. Right? Then the other thing you need to do is you have to have some money in risk enterprises, and on the stock exchange, it's important, and it's now become so easy. There's this beautiful system called Easy Equities, where you can literally start with 10 rand. And you can put away 10 rand a month, and eventually, and you can learn the business. You can learn all of it free on Easy Equities. They've got a wonderful training program going all the way there. And the only thing that stops you is the will to do it, and it's up to you. You can choose to either watch another 5 hours of Netflix or invest the 5 hours in learning how to invest. It's your choice.
That's right.
Most people seem to want to seem to think the world owes you a living. The world owes you nothing. You owe yourself to get into the situation where, and I learned, my dad gave me some wonderful information and when I was a kid, and he said to me, what you must do is every day of your life, take 1 hour and study anything, whatever you feel like studying that day. Just read for an hour a day. And I've been doing that now for, I don't know, 60 years or so, I suppose. And still today, I still do that. Sometimes I read garbage, only to find out day after tomorrow that has triggered an idea that I wouldn't have had otherwise. I would say, and you know, Warren Buffett talks about the 5-hour rule. 5 hours a week, an hour a day, read something. Just read anything worthwhile. You know, read to learn, non-fiction, stuff like that. That empowers you in ways you don't understand. Because, and of course, it's the age of the knowledge worker. So machines are going to take over more and more of the mundane tasks. So the only way you can really survive in future is to be a knowledge worker, to become, and also the road for entrepreneurs, of course, is open, always is, always will be. And another rule, Peter, that I've learned that you should write on the wall if you want to go into business, it is this, that money follows ideas. This is so important. Money follows ideas. So if you have the right idea and you know how, and you get to implement that idea, you will get the money you need. It's it's always so important to be self-confident, to like yourself, to live for a reason beyond yourself, and not. And at the end of the day, it's about love more than anything else. And if there was a person walked in Palestine 2,000 years ago, he said, "Love your neighbor as yourself." Best advice ever. That's how you become a good person. That's how you become a happy person. And that's how I become a preacher now, which I don't want to be, but there it is.
So I think the greatest takeaway in the last statement also is no one can have the excuse to say, look, I don't have the money, because you can start as little as 10 rands, you know, and you can start putting money away. Now, here's something interesting. 3 years ago, I went to a stockbroker's office and I was saying, listen, I want to put some cash in Tesla, you know, the Tesla stock. And I think it was going under $200 at the time. And, you know, I think a week later, I read up on some expert who was saying that, look, it's a bubble, you know, that it's inflated and it was going to be worthless within maybe a year or two. And just 2 days ago, the Tesla stock is over $1,000. So,
That's right.
yeah, so I was almost banging my head on the wall to say, look, I should have started without having the excuse. But again, like I'm saying, the greatest takeaway is you can start small. And then also, yeah, and I think there's a lot of opportunities in green technology that people can explore.
Exactly. That is the thing of the future. I mean, did you see how beautiful the world looked when we stopped riding around in cars? Even in Delhi, they could see the Himalayas. So, what's not to gain? Of course, the whole plastic, the massive issues with plastic, they need to be resolved. And we need to find, and there are ways you can actually, and we're working on a project in India where they are recycling waste plastic into diesel. And so that cuts their import bill for oil by recycling their plastic. So, and this is something that it's around the corner. It's there. Just open your eyes and you'll find it.
Good. So tell me something, Peter. So if someone maybe has got some access to funding and would like to jump on board on Benchmark International, and are there opportunities that people probably can invest in or products that they can buy from Benchmark?
Absolutely. have a look at benchmarkinternational.net. That's our website, and you'll find a lot of information there. We are about to launch two things. The one is a listing on the Dutch Caribbean Stock Exchange in Curaçao. The other is we are doing a security token offering in Zug in Switzerland. That is at the moment offering a magnificent opportunity to get involved with us as well. Yeah.
Great, Peter. Peter, I can't thank you enough for your time. And my last question is probably, when are you going to retire? Because you did retire.
I did. And I now have no plans to retire. They'll have to carry it first. Because there's no point, isn't that?
True.
What do? I just become a burden. So this way I'm hopefully adding some value and making somebody's life better somewhere. And that's what I like doing. So thank you, and thank you very much, Peter. It's always a delight to talk to you.
Excellent, Peter. So I will be in touch. I'm going to follow up on the oil refuge cleaning up system or technology. I do know that South Sudan is in need of that. So I'll keep in mind on that, yeah.
There's a wonderful opportunity there. Excellent. Let's do that.
Right.
Good.
All right, Peter. Thank you so much.
All the best.
Thank you.
And well done on your book, and well done on what you're achieving with that. It's very good.
Thank you. I mean, the response has been incredible, especially in the U.S., like I did say the other day. So I really appreciate the USA, and Europe and South Africa too is coming along. I think the number of sales are coming. Third is South Africa.
Buy the book. Buy the book. It's worth it. Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
So everybody, thank you for tuning in. This has been Pieter Ngozi-Nyirongo, and I had a special guest. His name is Pieter Coetzer, based in Cape Town, who is an investor stroke innovator, and there's lots of opportunities that you can explore in their company. I'm going to put the link in the video below, and you can feel free to get in touch with them and just explore further what kind of opportunities you can get into. And then also they've got a learning platform that has got amazing courses. I've been through, I've had a look. Feel free to just browse and then also get in touch with them. And this can also be for your corporate. So you may be your company and you want to get some of your staff members level up in terms of their skills development. So once again, I look forward to the next interview, everybody. You take care and enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.